In this video, we'll be building a side-scroller in the GameMaker. While this kind of experience isn't directly supported just yet, it shows how with a little bit of creativity you can get some really exciting results. We'll be creating a custom asset, terraforming land, setting perspective, defining the play area, creating some enemies, and establishing some quests. To start off, we're going to create a custom wall asset. To do this, jump into VoxEdit, choose Modeler, create a new asset, and save it to a location of your choosing. Once in VoxEdit, we'll define the dimensions of the asset. For this example, we'll set a depth of 2 and a width and height of 256. Then all we need to do is click the bucket tool while in create mode and click the viewport to define the area. Now you can export by clicking File, Export, and then Export to Marketplace. This will open the Sandbox dashboard in a browser, name your asset, choose its categories, and you're set. You'll be able to access it in the GameMaker. Now we can open the GameMaker. Click Create New, choose your land size, we'll use a 1x1, name your experience, click Create, then zoom out, choose an edge to start building on. We're going to use this edge here. Use the library to add some blocks to the toolbar for terraforming, and then choose some assets like some buildings and some trees to bring the landscape to life. Next, we'll remove some blocks so only our platform space remains, and then we'll move our spawn point to the start of the level. It looks a bit wide, so we'll adjust the spawn point and trim the edge of the platform to make better use of the space. Now we'll add the wall asset we made in VoxEdit. Rotate it into position, then set it to invisible, and line it up with the edge of the platform. Use Ctrl-D to duplicate, reposition, and then duplicate again on the opposite side. You can see there's now a barrier to keep the player in the defined area. We also need to change the perspective of the player. Click Global Parameters, then Camera, set camera distance to 15 and the camera yaw to the angle of your platform. Also make sure the camera is set to locked. Great, now when you hit play, you can see it's more like a side scroller. With the camera in place, we're now going to rough out the obstacles for the player to navigate around. We're using a lava block and I want it to do some damage to the player. To do this, open Global Parameters, click Controller and then Components, select Damaging Blocks and then search for the block you want to do damage on contact with the avatar. We want this to kill the player instantly, so we'll set block damage to 100. Hit Tab and you can now see the avatar dies on contact with those blocks. Okay, now let's add some enemies that can be defeated when the avatar jumps on them. First, select an entity to use as the enemy. We'll use this beaver. Then we'll use this numpad to act as a logic container. First we'll position it above the enemy, then we'll parent it to the beaver using the hierarchy on the left of the screen. Select the numpad and drag it onto the beaver. Now the numpad will follow the beaver wherever it goes. Next, we'll set the numpad to invisible and then use the physics drop down to turn collision off. We won't need a behavior on the numpad, so we can remove that along with indicator. We'll then add the speaker component, remove the pop-up text, click Edit Logic and set Display Condition to detect entity. Define the range the entity will be detected. We'll keep this really low at 0.5 to cover a small area above our enemy's head. Then make sure that the tag to be detected is set to avatar. Now we'll set the message sent by the component when the avatar is detected. We'll use Kill Beaver 1. Then we'll set the health component on the beaver to receive that message. Set death event to destroy and change the instant death message to the one sent by the speaker component. In this case, Kill Beaver 1. The presence of the avatar should now trigger the message to destroy the beaver. To make the enemy hostile, we simply click the beaver, open behaviors, select melee enemy, click Edit Logic, then adjust the chase zone to suit your needs. And you're done. Now let's continue adding some blocks and assets to build out our experience. You can see here I'm adding in a landscape behind the main area to give depth, creating the environment. I'm then adding in assets such as trees and buildings for aesthetics, and then some extra pieces for gameplay, such as ladders, artifacts, a door, a couple more enemies, and of course, some more trees. We'll then continue adding walls, duplicating and positioning them along the edges of the playable area until all the gaps a player could fall through are covered. With the environment done, it's time to add some quests. We'll have one main quest to finish the game, and then a second collector quest the player will need to complete to open a door. To set our quest, navigate to the Rules tab at the top of the screen. Then in the Quest section, add the name of your quest, followed by a description of the quest. For our main objective, we'll set Unlock Quest to auto unlock, and then Launch Quest to auto launch. Set the quest type to wait for message. We'll make it so that the quest ends when the message Lava Land Escaped is received. Now when that message is received, we need the quest to complete. We'll set it to auto completion, and then when it's completed, the game will end. We'll hit tab to give it a quick test, and we can see that the quest is launching at the start of the game. To set the trigger for the end of the game, we'll use this flag with the speaker component to detect entity with the avatar tag, and then send the message lava.land.escape, which we set as our trigger to complete the condition of the quest. And there you go. But that's too easy. Now we'll make the player collect 3 artifacts to unlock the door to reach the flag. Open the rules again and create a new quest with a name and description. We'll set this quest to auto unlock, but to only trigger once a specific message has been received. We'll use artifact.collected. Then make the quest type counter and set counter type to collected objects with the tag lava.artifact. To set the amount the player needs to collect, and then once they've been collected, have the quest autocomplete and send a message. We'll use artifacts.collected. Now to make the collectible assets for the quest. Choose your asset, click add component, then collectible. Turn collision on and set the object's name. Once done, click edit logic and choose a sound to play when the object is picked up. Most importantly, we now need to add the message that's sent when the object is picked up. We'll use artifact.collected, which will trigger the launch of our second quest, but also requires the tag lava.artifact. Now we need the door to only open once the quest has been completed. Add the door behavior to your object. Remove any unnecessary components and then add the toggle component. We'll be using this to turn the door behavior off until the quest sends a message to toggle the door back on. You can see here the turn on message is set to artifacts.collected, which is sent when all 3 objects have been collected for the quest. Finally, make sure the initial behavior state is set to false. This makes the door behavior inactive when the game starts. Collecting an item with the lava.artifact tag will now send a message triggering the quest and adding to the collection total. Collecting the final object completes the quest and sends the message toggling the door behavior. Now the player can interact with it, pass through, reach the flag, and finish the game. Congratulations, we've covered creating custom walls, changing camera angles, using components to defeat enemies by jumping on them, editing terrain, setting damaging blocks, and creating quests. You now have what you need to start building your own side-scroller, but this is just a guide and the beginning of what you can achieve. Thanks for watching, we can't wait to see what you create. So make sure you connect with us in Discord or on Twitter and share what you've built, and we'll see you in the metaverse.